Good day, bro. Good day, good day, good day. I hope you're good. Let's do today's analysis now. We're going to start with C5. C5 is strong bullish. Strong bullish. So yesterday's setup, which I had, let's see. Okay, so during the Zoom, I had this setup here. I actually sold one runner. I think it was here after we came below the zone because I thought we were going to use this zone here, respect it, and then a reverse. But they never turned back, so the runner was taken out. Then I just started stalking it. So when I saw this impulsive move, I figured, okay, we are actually bullish here. So as soon as I figured that we are bullish, I came to H1. Then I mapped out the impulsive move with the Fibonacci 2. So if you drag it all the way to this particular high here, this is how it was looking. So if we are pushing our prices to at least retrace to the 50 level, so it was on this zone here. Soon as I started anticipating a reversal, I was watching the H1, then I saw this price action. Then I dropped to the M15. That's when I shared a sell in the group. I think when I shared the sell, the price was here, if I'm not mistaken. Then the stop loss was just outside the high. So price retraced. No. I think I shared when we were here because I don't remember holding a retracement. Shared when we were here, it retraced a bit on the 5-minute time frame. Then it dropped about 10 pips, I think. I wanted 20 pips on this trade. Yeah, it actually dropped 20 pips, but depending with the entry, I remember my entry was just 10 pips when it pushed. So I just closed on the 10 pips because in my mind, I knew that we are approaching a support zone and we are right on the 50 EMA and we're on the 32 level. Even though price still got to that zone, which I wanted, I just took my profit here since I knew we were in an uptrend. So that was a short-term sell for yesterday. So going into today, like I said yesterday, I'm still anticipating price to get to this zone here before we even get a good sell. So the only thing which we can wait for is an intraday reversal, just to set up like yesterday, a short-term sell, maybe when price is retracing either back to the 13 EMA or break back to the zone. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to clear this fib off. Then I'm going to mark the last high, the last higher high range. So if a short-term sell is to happen, at least it might potentially pull back to this zone here, which is yesterday's high. So it's a flip zone for a continuation to the buy. So C500 for now, I feel like we'll stay bullish until a structure is broken or until a higher low is broken. So what we can only look for now is an intraday reversal. So again, we're going to run a fib. Wherever we feel like the price is starting to retrace, then we'll run a fib. So for now, it looks like it's here. So you can see if you run your fib, the 50 and 61 level are here. So if this becomes the current high, we might get a sell coming back to this level before this price continues up. For now, that's my current view. But again, if there is acceleration in the market, price won't even get here. They'll just react off maybe this level and push up. So I would say let's stay away from C500 until it gives a solid setup. So for now, I'm just going to leave it on H1 like this. Then I'll keep stalking. C1000 has been the only asset which has been sort of moving from this peak. We can see the day before yesterday, we had a nice peak. So this is a clean reversal because now we've broken a higher low, right? Once we break your higher low, you start leaning on your sell bias. You start looking for reasons to sell. So this is our markups from yesterday. We had marked this order block here and we had marked this level here, right? So During our Zoom, I think we were retracing back up. So we came and we respected the order block nicely here. Huge bearish engulfing is also sniper entries in there. Or a late entry here, a safe sell here after breaking this zone. We still got a nice good move. Then price also retraced, gave a short-term sell here, then they retraced again into the 800 EMA where they gave a huge sell, breaking minor structures and retesting them. So the trick with trading is just looking for a trend. Trending markets are the best to trade. So once you figure out where your price is going, you just start looking for reasons to sell. So the first reason was here, second reason was here. If you're not sure about this, you wait for a structure to be broken, then retested. Then you can see the sales still happen. So coming into today now, we've had one day of drop, second day. Today is the third day, which could be an acceleration day, whereby price just drops without a retracement. That's one possible view. Or price can still retrace into this level here. So we're keeping it simple. Since we know it's a downtrend, we are creating lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower low right here or somewhere here. If you see we've got a zone here, let me see where the zone is coming from. It's coming from this area. So we've got a lower low right there. And I would love to see price retrace to create a lower high anywhere in this area, either right here or maybe somewhere here within this order block here. Just like they did here. If you see here, they gave a fake out here. So early sellers here will be taken out because stop losses will be here. So again, that's how price moves. Sometimes they'll just drop, sometimes they'll do a stop hunt. But as long as you've got another reason to sell, you can still re-enter the trade. So my point of interest on C1000 is 60.48. 60.48, that's a point of interest. I don't want to use a limit here. I'd rather wait for them to confirm at least a pattern on a smaller time frame, then I'll enter, because they might still extend into this high here, like what we saw them do yesterday. So let's see if we run a fib. So I'm starting to use fib now. If you've noticed, I'm starting to use Fibonacci because it's one of the tools I discovered from the Candlestick Trading Bible. It's actually a good tool if you know how to use it. So if we run a fib from this high, we are still not yet sure if this is the low. Prices to start retracing for us to know that this is the low. But for now, if they do retrace and this is the low, you can see where the 50 level is and the 61% level is. It means the probability of the price respecting here are low and the probabilities of the price respecting here are high. So I'd rather wait for price to come into this area, which most likely means they might be respecting this minor zone right there, which is around, let's see the price there, it's around 607.06070. Okay, that's a point of interest. So right there, I think I might use a sell limit. So 6048 is just a zone of interest, which is this first area here, 6048. Then 6070, we're using a sell limit for this area because it's in the 50 and 61% fib retracement level, which is also a minor zone here, which is also a supply zone here or an order block. So there is many points of confluence in that area, and you also see the 50 EMA is coming. So 6070 will be a sell limit, and that will be a high probability setup for sales right there. Then going to C3, C3 has been falling for a long time. They didn't even come back to the zone we marked yesterday. You see, we had the supply zone. So we had a nice sell. We could have caught it here. Then here maybe, but we had no clean entry. There was no retest. This is like an accelerating market. So whenever there's acceleration, the probability of getting pullbacks becomes very, very low. And it looks like liquidity has been taken here, so this price might actually start to reverse for the week. So we might not have any trades on C3. So I don't have any point of interest for now. So I don't think I'll be looking at C3 today. Then going to the B1000, we're still in that zone. And as long as we below the 13 EMA, we're still bearish, but we've hit a demand zone here or an order block. So I'm still looking for those short-term buys, maybe going back to the 13 EMA here, like I mentioned in the group. So that's the view from the daily. If we drop down to the H4, you also notice that this was the initial low of this week, slightly taken out here. I think by yesterday's move or by yesterday's lows. So price might potentially push up. But if you notice, I ran a fib here to here. This still applies for the signal. I think we shared the day before yesterday when we said we are pushing down. So let's run a fib to see where this price can retrace to. So potential retracement area for continuation of the sales is this. So we are very close to 13,680, which was the TP yesterday. So what might potentially happen today is I'm not really satisfied to seeing buys here, but if price, okay, before we go to that explanation, what I'm anticipating is price to still take out these lows, then start to push up because we know there's liquidity below here. Sell stops waiting for that continuation to go down. So price might take out those sellers or the sellers who are already in the trade. If their stop losses are here, price will be coming for those stops. I think that's my current view for now. So I still want to see a stop onto the downside before buying. But then if we break this current high of today right now, if we break it with a convincing candle, we might consider a buy coming back to this level here before price continues going down. So again, this is a short-term sell. It's not a high probability trade. They might still break, just taking our liquidity and respect the 50, then actually push down. Because right here, we're very near the 50 and 61. So they might still continue with their down push. So it's a low probability trade on B1000. So a safe sell might happen if price closes above 13,655. Low probability. If we get a close above here, we might be pushing all the way to 13,700. So as you can see, it's like a 40 pip trade, potentially 30 to 40 pips, which is really not worth it considering that this is B1. So we'll just see how it goes. I'll still advise in the group. Maybe price might want to come all the way up here. So maybe we might get something like this. That's also possible. But the trend mainly here is still bearish. So everything on B1 for now is low probability. B500, like I said, this one is very annoying to trade. Yesterday we mentioned safe sells above here because we're looking at this, looking at a potential reversal to the buys which were happening here. So they did come back above, closed all the way up here, but they came back below, came back above, below. So you can see now they are like in a range or in a choppy market, and that's what they usually do. When you give up, that's when they move. So for now, I'm not really interested in P500. I'd rather miss the setup here than enter and get a loss. So let's just see how the high time frame is looking, though. Maybe it might be clean. I'm not really interested in this one. So B5, I don't think I'll trade it until I get a form of a retracement back to the 13 EMA. Until I get that retracement, I've got no trades on B5. So C3, B5, no trades for me. Then going to jump 10. I've been just looking at this. We're looking at this upper range and lower range. Let me see how we spoke about it yesterday. Let me just check H4. Oh yeah, so we're still trading within last week's range, right? So there wasn't really anything too solid unless you really understood price action. So after yesterday's session, I just continued analyzing it, trying to really see what they were doing. So I noticed from this low to this high, if you ran a fib, I think this was a point of interest for a buy. So let me just confirm it. Okay, so if you see that's 61.8, right? So they came there. What else did we have? We had these two equal lows here, which made this zone a good support zone. So from here to here again, if you run another fib, so here there is no trend, but we're just looking for the intraday trends within that weekly range. So you really need to understand price action to even understand how to use the fib on this particular one. So again, from this low to this high, if you run your fib on this particular one, they came below the 61.8. They came below the 50 EMA, but they respected this zone which they had broken here, and the buys just pushed up. So for today, I don't have anything solid, too solid for now. We might run another fib here, but I'm still not sure if this is actually a retracement. So if we are to run another fib, let me remove these two. So from this low here to this high here, if you run your fib, you notice that the point of interest where we can potentially get our trade or a setup will be here. But I still advise against trading within the range if you don't know what's really going on. But this will stand as a point of interest. We also have an order block here. If you open on H1, so let me zoom in here. You see there is a green candle standing by itself. For me, that's an order block right there. So if I use that order block, if we just mark it into the future like this, you'll notice that it's falling within the 50 and 61 retracement. So if we do get this price from where it is now, if they decide to trickle down and respect this area, then give us a pattern on a smaller time frame, then we can take a short-term buy. If we do break and come below, then we might potentially get a short-term sell, but I still want to see how price reacts around this area. Anything else which might happen, I don't have any possible view on it except what I've marked here. So for this one, I'm going to leave it on H1, then I'm going to keep stoking it and see what happens. Then V2501S, I remember we were waiting for them to come to a fair value gap, which is right here, this gray zone. So they came close to the area. And if you notice, if we run a fib from this high to this low, that area was near the 50 zone, which also made it a high probability. But I want you to notice that on this particular setup, price did not get to the fair value gap. That's the first thing. They only respected the 38.2, right? So I actually did not trade this. I only looked at it today. Then I started to go down the time frames to see how we could have potentially traded if we were stalking it. So if you look at it this way now on H1, you notice that price actually retraced into a supply zone here on H1, these order blocks here. So I'm using these order blocks right there. We also had the 50 EMA, we had a 1350 cross, and price came and respected the 50 EMA. So this is an ID50 trade. For those who trade using BTMM, this is an ID50 trade. ID50 simply stands for intraday. It's an intraday retracement whereby price will interact with the 50 EMA. That's what ID50 stands for. So that only happens after price sets a peak and the 13 crosses the 50, then the retracement happens. So this is an ID50 trade which happened. So I wasn't paying attention to that. My main attention was this zone. So I ended up missing out on this trade. And we also had an order block here. If you drill down to M15, you notice that we actually had a nice pattern there. Price actually extended the high for the day. So this was the initial high. It was extended. So price created a peak. When we saw that this is the extension and this is the new peak, this was the last order block. So price came and broke it. Right, the little retest and they just melted without a major retracement. So again, there was acceleration here. And it was a good setup, but we missed it. So yeah, that was the trade. So looking at it today, let me see what I have. Prices dropped so much, but at the same time, we're still trading within the weekly or the higher time frame range, which we marked. You see the square here. Let me see if it's visible. Okay, so we marked this based on the weekly candles. You can see this whole zone here. So you remember I said I still want to see price break out of this zone. So this trade was valid based on this pattern here. We saw this pattern forming on a daily pattern, and it was the same pattern forming here. The only thing we needed was the point of interest. We had the point of interest, but price respected a certain level. So for today, what do I have, or where can we potentially get a trade? So if we zoom in here, and if we ignore that weekly range we have, and we just consider this explosive push down, okay, I think I'll actually start with it from here, from where this sell happened. So what I want to see first is price retracing up. So let me actually use the H1. Yeah, let's use the H1. So we're going to start with where this move started to drop, right? Then we drag our fib. So what we want to see is price retrace so that we can mark a low. So if they start to retrace now, and if that's the low, what we simply need to do is to run the fib. Then look to the left. We are looking for a zone which was broken. So the last zone I see here would be this one. So this makes this zone here, it was support, it was broken, it became resistance, retested once. So I'm looking at this as one impulsive move. So if they start to retrace from here, then this same level for me is a high probability area where we can potentially sell from. The thing is, it's falling within an order block there. It's falling within a resistance zone. It's falling between the 50 and 61% retracement. So again, if TDI also gives us something like maybe a baseline bounce on the 32 level, that will also be a good sell opportunity into the extremes though, because the baseline bounce will be trading around the 32 level. So a reversal definitely will happen either later on today or maybe tomorrow, but I would love to see price extend these lows, then maybe reverse. So that's my view for V250S. I'm also going to leave this on H1. J10, we're leaving it right here on H1. B5, we're not trading. B1, we're waiting for price to break these ultimate lows slightly, just a small break. Then we get a good trade up, or we get a safe buy above the zone. That's the view for B1. C3, we're not looking at it. The good sell is already happened. C1, we're waiting for them to start retracing so that we can mark our fib retracement correctly, then get a potential sell trade. And C5, we're waiting for H1 to give us a reversal pattern, then we can trade a retracement into the bullish move. So that's it for today. I don't think I've got anything else to explain. Let's see, there's something I wanted to highlight. Okay, do you see this setup here on the setup here on V250S? It's the same with a setup which is on or which happened on NZDCHF. Same patterns, price might have delivered a bit different coming from the peak. But what I wanted to highlight is we got our peak, then we got the impulsive move, we got the 1350 cross, validating our peak here. Then price came, retraced onto the 50 EMA instead of coming into a zone which we had on top here. So I just wanted to mention similarities of the pattern across different assets. So we have the same pattern on V250S, we have the same pattern on NZDCHF. So if you notice this pattern, let me show you where I had actually waited for it. Let me see. Okay, I had waited for it at the top here. Let me go to H1. Okay, as you can see, I had also waited for it at the break of this particular structure. This is where I was waiting for this trade. But they ended up actually respecting the 50 EMA after giving a 1350 cross. So here there's no EMAs, but it's actually the same. Okay, I don't think you're seeing this. I made that mistake again. So there it is, there it is. So I was waiting for it here on top. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Let me do this and click share. Okay. So this is the level I was waiting for after they created the peak here. So on TradingView, the peak was actually on this leg. On MT4, the peak was on this leg. But either way, the peak is the peak. We had that move. We broke this level. This is where I was waiting to sell. But they ended up respecting the 50 EMA here, which is what is visible. If we go back to the indicators or if we go back to MT4, you see there's the direction. Here was the peak. 1350 cross, price retested the 50 EMA. Then if we switch to this, same thing. Here was the peak. We had an explosive push down. I was waiting for price here slightly above. They respected the 50 EMA, then they dropped down. So you can see the similarities of the sell setups there. So apart from that, I think that's all I have for today. We'll simply have to wait for C5 for a possible short-term trade, and we'll wait for C1 to start retracing, then to potentially get a high probability trade. That's the only assets which could actually pay us today. Apart from that, we might have no trade on Deriv today. So I hope today's session was helpful. If you still have questions, you can hit me up on Telegram. If you want to discuss something, then you just let me know. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good trading.